The games are coming thick and fast at the moment, and there's no respite for the Dons because next up it's a trip down to Ayrshire to take on Kilmarnock, where the Dons have not won in 5 long years. Next up, it's Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. Tomorrow evening, kick-off is at 19:45. There are other fixtures going on tomorrow which could determine where we end up in the league tomorrow. First and foremost, we must take care of our own business. Other fixtures include Celtic against Falkirk, Hibs against Rangers, Motherwell against Dundee United, and the leaders, they go to Paisley to take on St Mirren. Hello everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Tuesday night. Thank you so much for being with us last night. The viewing figures are absolutely fantastic. Delighted to see so many of you were on and enjoyed the show. So thank you. And thank you for being with us again tonight. You're going to be absolutely thrilled to learn that this evening I am in the company of God. God is here. God. There's no divine intervention, even though we might need it tomorrow night. But I'll be speaking to Willie Miller. Willie Miller is here for a good 8 minutes. That's going to come up a little bit later. He was on really good form. Spoke to him earlier today about a host of things at the football club. So I'll bring that to you very, very shortly. But this is the preview show. It's your chance to come on and have your say, as always, and tell us what you think ahead of tomorrow night's game down in Ayrshire. There's no soundbite from the manager today, quite strangely, on the club's social media, but I can tell you a couple of bits and pieces that he has said after he gave his press conference today. I'll give you my formation and my team in just a moment, and there's a couple of things that I need to sort of discuss with you about that. But first and foremost, he said about the fighting spirit, he said that the players need to win their 50-50 situations. He says the players need to give more for each other. And he also said that the competitive sides of the team needs to improve. And lastly, he accepts that his responsibility lies very much with the results. So again, he was quite buoyant, didn't give much away as he normally does, very emotionless as always. If you want to watch his press conference in full, if you are a Red TV subscriber, you can watch it there. Right, just before I bring you the team formation, I just want to very quickly thank Norman Baker, thank Hugh Clark, and thank Christopher Leslie Bray, who have all in the past month become members of Ali Beg ABTV. Guys, thank you so much for your support. The membership scheme basically means that these guys are now supporting me from a financial point of view. It's a very small subscription that they pay monthly to the channel. And as I continually tell you, anything that is made through the business side of the channel gets pumped straight back into the channel. I'm sure that you've seen this season, we've made a number of improvements, wee changes. That's all down to you guys. So thank you to everybody who continues to support me financially through the membership scheme. It's very, very humbling, I have to say. Right. So take a look. Tell me what you think. Now, there's a couple of things here. First and foremost, Alfie, who I want to go in as part of the 3, is touch and go for tomorrow. Now, the reason that I wanted him to go in there, and I mean this with the greatest respect, but I've picked the lesser of 2 evils because I don't think Alexander Jensen should be playing at the moment. I think he's running around like a headless chicken and I don't think he's contributing anything to the team at the moment, and I think he needs to be benched. Hence why, if Alfie is fit, I would rather Nicky go further forward. If Alfie doesn't play, then I think what will happen is Nicky will come back and Alexander Jensen will play, because let's be honest, who else is going to play in there? But that's the side that I've picked. I want Dante to play and I want Ante to play through the middle, and I want Marco to start tomorrow night, not Kevin, because I was hugely disappointed with his contribution on Sunday. Here's your match facts. So the home side head into this game with an overall record of 2 wins, 4 draws, and they have lost their last 2. The Dons have lost all of their last 4 visits to Rugby Park since winning there in December 2020, when Ryan Hedges and Sam Cosgrove sealed a 2-0 win. And just look at this stat, it just beggars belief. Aberdeen have picked up just 29 points from a possible 108, which stretches back to last year. I think I read somewhere, and I'm going to double check this after tomorrow night's game, that in this calendar year, we have only won 7 games. The referee is Duncan Nicholson. May I remind you that Alibeg ABTV is sponsored by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. They've been with me for a number of years now, and they continue to offer brilliant services: torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding, but to name but a few. Thank you as always to my sponsors who continue to support me here on the channel. Right, let's just very quickly open it up to you guys, just to see how you're doing before we bring on Willie. Gordon Keith says, good evening. Tomorrow is a must win. We need wins and we need to start climbing the table. Ryan Ellington is wishing you all a good evening. It's got to be a win for the Dons tomorrow. Otherwise, he thinks it'll be bye-bye Yimmy. The Galaglass says, Yimmy indicated that players get stressed when they go behind. These are professional players that when they're training should kick in and rather than trying to hide. So, again, I'm going to come back to the sports and exercise psychologist Don Vasey, I beg your pardon, who has been on the channel in more recent times and will continue to come on to the channel to give you some really informative information about professional sports people, how they deal with certain situations, but not just professional sports people. You can take his tips into your everyday life as well. I've got to admit, I've started doing that with my own kids, some of the little tips that he's given me. One of the things that Don spoke about, and I hope you saw it a couple of weeks ago, was this thing called chaos, and how basically you deal with chaos in terms of, if Aberdeen concede a goal, what do they need to do? And what they mustn't do is allow chaos to enter their play and, more importantly, enter their heads. And I think we have seen examples time and time again where, unfortunately, when we go a goal down or a goal behind, we are simply not dealing with it at all. For 10 to 15 minutes after we concede, we look very shaky. We look very vulnerable. And until we sort ourselves out and get back on a level playing field, we are all over the shop. Athens, AAK being the perfect example. Gammon Young says, hi Ali, really hope we can get the result tomorrow, but it's going to be tough. If it ends in defeat, I think Yimmy will be gone, as we're second bottom from relegation and can't continue this into the Christmas period. Colin Gale says the team needs to adapt a more solid structure and show some cohesion in the game tomorrow. A solution to the midfield problem needs to be found. We were overrun against Hibs. Phil McAnish says it's looking more likely, going by reports, that whatever the score is tomorrow, that Talene will still be in charge at least until the new sporting director arrives. Mate, I think you're absolutely right. I can't see it at the moment. Lutz Pfaffenstiel begins his tenure in 2 weeks, on the 10th of November. So next Tuesday is the 4th. So yeah, so it's a week on Monday, if I got that right. 2 weeks on Monday, something like that. That's when he begins his tenure. And I can't see Yimmy losing his job before he comes in. But then I also have to say is, until December and the winter transfer window opens, what's he going to do? Honestly, what's he going to do? Is he going to get on the training ground himself and work with Yimmy? Is he just going to work behind the scenes to target new players, get rid of some of the dead wood that we've got? What's he going to do? Because he's got a huge first month. Because let's be honest, if results go against us, I know there's an international break coming up as well, I think, but if results continually go bad and go against us and we end up, God forbid, at the bottom of the table come December, what's going to happen? Seriously, what's going to happen? Honestly, I got to be honest. I know sometimes these things happen, but I wish they could have got him in a little bit earlier. He finished his job in America with St. Louis City, in August? And he's not beginning until the 10th of November. I do wonder about that. Fraser Gunn says, greeting all, 3 points an absolute must win tomorrow night. The midfield selection is crucial and it could be the outcome of the game. Paul Hannon's asking how I'm doing. I'm all right, Paul. I'm all right, fella. Felt so much better for speaking to the legend that is Willie Miller this afternoon. Colin Gale says, I agree with comments that whatever the result, Tulane will still be the manager for the next few weeks, rightly or wrongly. Richard Mickey McMillan is saying, come on, Yimmy, turn this about, get us back in the mix. Robin the Bold says, sporting director or not, it's win or bust for Yimmy. Elfie Dello says, good evening, dandies. Fingers crossed we get a decent result tomorrow and finally get this show on the road. Graham Gibbs says, surely like when we went 3 at the back, we go 3 proper midfielders in midfield. We have enough of them, just be harder to play against. Right. Let's get Willie on. So earlier today I spoke to Willie. This VT videotape, we call it, is roughly 8 minutes long. Willie and I spoke about Hibs. He touched on the Athens game. We spoke about tomorrow, and he spoke about the new incoming sporting director. So welcome back to the show, because it's been a wee while. The legend that is Willie Miller. Hi, Willie. It's great to see you. How are you keeping?
Yeah, all fine. Weather changed over here right enough. It's damn cold now. So
tell me about it. Yeah. -3 last night over here already.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, fella. I've got to ask you for your reaction, first of all, about the Penguin stealing Madman.
Well, yeah, it came as a bit of a surprise, actually. His history, his name has been mentioned. And he's been around. In fact, he's been around the world, hasn't he? So we're hoping, and I think all the Aberdeen fans will be hoping, that he's picked up a lot of experience in his travels. Both as a player, a coach, whatever guys he's been under in the various roles that he's been appointed to. So the most important thing, I think, is to give him the opportunity to go and do what he's employed to do, and that's basically to develop the football side of the club and to be in control of the signings. Obviously, working with the manager to make sure that the Jimmy Tullane's get the final say and who's going to be brought in. But at the same time, working together. I think working together as a team is the most important thing to make sure that the club is developing their own players, as well as going out and bringing in experienced players, as well as project players, which we've seen on a number of occasions. Majowski is probably one that will stick up there. Has been a huge success, and a number of players coming in, during the summer transfer window. So it's a big task that he's got. It is vitally important. I mean, it is probably the most important aspect of the football department, is to get the recruitment right, to get the proper players in, to get them in at the right cost as well. And I've been there, I've done it. You're not going to get it right all the time. Sure. But as long as you can get your fair percentage right, then I think that's what the fans will be looking for.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a job on his hands, because Sunday wasn't great, was it?
No. There has been signs, though, up until the EK game that things were improving. Even in defeat down at Fir Park, you could see that was a very close one, and with a bit of good fortune, they should have got something from it. But with a bit of good fortune, they could have got the 3 points. And then you build on good performances. the Dundee performance, which was very good indeed. And then going down to Paisley, never an easy place to go. It's always the fans are always very vocal. You get a very noisy reception. Well, I certainly do anyway whenever I go down here. When I covered it for Red TV as well. So, but a really strong performance, and a performance that I thought they deserved to win, with a fabulous goal from Marko Lazetic right at the end that even I couldn't hide my admiration for it. So, and then the European result was just, it couldn't have been much worse. You can only hope that everybody actually, learns from the situation, and when you're in Europe, what's required in Europe to, to actually. Sorry, are you okay?
Yeah, you're all fine. Yeah, you're all fine. It's okay. You carry on, Willie.
So I think it's a learning process. I mean, a lot of these guys, certainly as a team, they haven't experienced that kind of atmosphere, that stadium, what's required. And certainly the most important thing I always feel is to make sure the first 15, 20 minutes in away games that you're really solid. And I didn't think that was a tactic. The tactic was more to go to the opposition and try and leaving yourself a bit exposed. And when you're playing against the quality that you come up against, over in Athens, then you shouldn't be surprised when they take advantage of the spaces that were left. So it was a big learning curve. It's one I hope that they will learn from, particularly away from home. And then, of course, you go into the game at the weekend, very important game, and you've still got a bit of a hangover from the European game. Now, no excuses about playing Thursday, Sunday. I can't cope with excuses in terms of the physicality and all the travelling. Listen, I've been there, I've done it. It's not easy, but the size of the squad just now is huge compared to back in the day, so you should be able to cope. But the Hibs game, second half, I thought the first half was okay against Hibs, but again, I'm looking at Martin Boyle in particular. He comes on. Now, we all know what Martin Boyle's good at. Don't give him space. Don't give him room in behind. And Aberdeen are exposed because they're away chasing the game. So, the result was poor. The performance in the second half was far too open. And Hibs took advantage of it. It's a major setback, these two games. You go down to Kilmarnock, and I'll tell you what, that's going to be a test of character down there. It'll be a test of my character, having to drive down and drive back the same day, but I'll do it. And I've been there both as a player and a manager, and it's one that will test your mental strength, your physical strength, your team spirit, your team organisation, just everything that you're going to need on a Wednesday night down at Kilmarnock to get a result. So a big task in hand. And one that I hope Jimmy and the team embrace and come out on top.
Yeah, I just hope there isn't too much of a disconnect, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, Willie, that there appears to be a disconnect between defence and midfield and attack. I hope it's much more together as a unit, because I think if it's not, I think we'll get punished.
Yeah, I just think, I applaud Jimmy Talleen for his approach to the game, and he always wants to take the game to the opposition, but I feel at times it's maybe better if he's going to stick with the three at the back. At times, just sitting in the five, particularly away from home. I think at home you've always got the responsibility to try to go at the opposition, but there are times in the game where you've just got to accept that the opposition have got maybe the upper hand, and you've got to kind of think your way through the game, and I think players have got to take responsibility to do that. I said that on Sunday in commentary, that you can't be constantly looking at the touchline to find out what you're supposed to be doing. Take responsibility. If you're good enough players and you've worked at it during the week, then you should be able to understand what's involved, the opposition, the quality of the opposition, strength and weaknesses, and when you're under pressure, make sure that you're folding back a little bit and you're making it extremely difficult for the opposition. And I think that's what's going to have to happen, down at Killie. It'll be a difficult game. I always think these games down there are, over the years when I've played and managed, they have been. So it's one that we can only hope that they manage to get that team unity, I would suggest. When you're talking about spaces, that's really important, to close the space between, your back five, your back three, whatever it may be, your midfield. And if you're going to play with the three strikers as well, it's got to be really compact and not allowing yourself to get exposed.
Willie, as always, it's been fantastic having you on. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and have safe travels down the road tomorrow.
Okay, Ali, all the best.
Cheers. All right, mate. Take care. Ta-da.
Bye.
Ta-da. Hi, Will. Thank you, Willie. A gentle reminder at this juncture that Craig International sponsor Ali Beg ABTV, and a number of their senior executives are going to be travelling to Abu Dhabi next week to attend the ADIPEC, the conference and exhibition, looking at all things oil and gas. In particular, Middle East Director Steve Gibson, he's going to be in attendance. So if you do want to go and have a wee chat about procurement and the services that they offer, I suggest you go and say hello. Or, as you can see, his email is on screen. If you want to drop him a wee note and arrange a meeting beforehand, then please feel free to do so. Also here on the channel, we're sponsored by Quipco, who service the oil and gas industry. They're also based in Abu Dhabi. They offer a number of services and products to the oil and gas industry. And if there's anything there that tickles your fancy, give us a shout, I should say, and they will very much be on hand to help you going forward. Right, let's get back to your comments, shall we? How do 1% govern 99% says, I don't think we've got the money to get rid of another manager. Grim Gibb says, we've tried every combination in a 2 in midfield and we get overrun. So play 3 in midfield. It's a very, very logical argument to that, isn't there? Neil Sinclair's here. He's wishing you all a good evening. He's asking, what do we think about tomorrow? Is it a must-win game? Neil is here. He's also wishing you a good evening, as is Colin Gale, asking for the thoughts on the new sporting director. Look, he comes with great pedigree. Absolutely does. And if Derek Ray sings his praises from the rooftop, then that's good enough for me. Jack Bruce says, I don't even know where to begin. Thought they would kick on after St Mirren, but they've been just awful. I agree, mate. It's like 5 steps forward, 10 steps back, as I said yesterday, mate. Suze is on. She's wishing you all a good evening. Lots to discuss, she said. Mark Graham says, at least tomorrow night we can be guaranteed hot food. Unlike last week, only pity is we still can't guarantee a win. Peter Lees. Now, this is really interesting. I've seen a few of these comments now, so I'm going to chuck it out there. And if any of you know anything, get it in the comments. Peter Lees says, what about these rumours that Yimmy wants to resign? John Kylo came on and asked, anyone know about Dave Cormack turning down Yeti's resignation earlier? So it's doing the rounds. If you know anything, if you've heard anything more, drop it in the old live chat. Let's try and get it on. The Mad Ferret says, nothing but 3 points will do tomorrow, but it's not going to be easy. Kirstein's on. Hi Kirstein, how are you? Hopefully I'll win tomorrow night, but not sure we can win. Hoping the new sporting director can help Yimmy. Philip Palmer says, it is now time for the team to start talking with their feet, not their mouths. I am not one to say sack the manager, as all it does will lose his money. David Horn is on, wishing you a good evening. John Kylo says Willie could still do a job as a manager. Mad Ferret says, an interview with God. Fantastic. Richard Mickey McMillan's just wishing you all a good evening. Howard Fowley. Hi Howard, how you doing? Good news from Howard. He's been discharged from Glasgow Hospital today, back home in Drum Oak. A massive thanks to everybody who sent their good wishes. Onwards and upwards, stand free. Get away to Buggery, will you? Howard, delighted that you're home, delighted that you're at a hospital, and now delighted that you're feeling better, mate. I hope your recovery goes well, fella. Deck G says, evening dandies, I think we could possibly win at Rugby Park as we've done it at Paisley after 6 to 7 years. I'll be at Killy tomorrow to support the lads. Good for you, mate. Safe travels down the road, across the road, up the road, wherever you're going from. AFC Mitchell is saying, I would like to see us go back to basics. 4-4-2. Graham Gibb, in regards to the comments that Yumi said about being competitive, surely to God that's a given. Yes, mate. Gavin Mills is asking, Ali, where do you stand now in terms of Tulane? Do you think he should go or are you still backing him? Honestly, mate, and this is not me sitting on the fence, I got to be honest, I really don't know. We can't carry on like this. You know, the stats tell you everything you need to know. 29 points out of a possible 108. Knocked out the Europa League qualifier. Out of the Scottish League Cup. Dreadful start to the season. Recruitment not great, I don't think. But the thing is, mate, we just can't keep copy and paste, rinse and repeat that we've been doing for the past 3 or 4 years. It's just not getting us anywhere. But we are now 2 years into this 3-year project and there's been absolutely no improvement whatsoever. If anything, I think we've gone backwards instead of forwards. We had an absolutely unbelievable opportunity after winning the Scottish Cup to really kick on, not just as a team, but as a football club as well. I think we've done the complete opposite. If I'm being honest, I think it's been ridiculous what's happened to us since the Scottish Cup final. We've been sleepwalking since then. We absolutely have. We've been bathing in our own glory after winning that Scottish Cup, when we should have got back to work on the Monday morning. On the 26th of May, we should have been back at work after the parade, back at work, start kicking on. But no, we bathed in the glory. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the Scottish Cup win. Of course I'm not. I was there. It was unbelievable. It was a moment that I'm never going to forget for the rest of my life. I was 17 years old the last time we won the Scottish Cup. There's a whole generation of fans who have now seen us win the Scottish Cup. It was unbelievable. But that Monday, we should have got back to work. And we should have kicked on. And we should have taken a huge step forward. But we didn't. We're taking steps back. So where do I stand with the manager? Mate, I don't know. I just don't know. I see signs. I go, yeah, do you know what? We're getting there. Dundee. People say, oh, it was only Dundee. It doesn't matter. We needed to win a game of football. And we did. We then won at St Mirren, which, let's be honest, had been a bogey team for us for so many years. And then I wasn't expecting much against AEK, I've got to be honest. But we got absolutely dicked. Really, truly and utterly mauled. And then on Sunday, it can't go on like this. It just can't. But I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Colin Gale is asking me, Ali, Dylan Loban at right back. Mate, do you know, I got to be honest. I got to be brutally honest. I did think about that today. I thought long and hard about whether chucking Dylan in. I just think I'd rather give him minutes first. And I also, do you want to get, I'm thinking about the plastic pitch. There's something about plastic pitches I don't like. And I'm not sure giving a lad his debut on a plastic pitch in a team that's struggling with confidence and is exposed at the back time and time again is the right thing to do. Okay, Penelope Pitstop has come on. I'm going to read out her message to you. Hello everyone, it's with a sad heart that my cousin Danny Mulling sadly passed away. He was a devoted dandy season ticket holder for 26 years. She wanted to come on and tell everyone as I knew he came on here. Penelope, we're so sorry for your loss. It's really, really sad news. Please send our love and our condolences to all of your family. Everybody here on Ali Beg AB TV. We are a family. And I would like to think that I speak on behalf of everybody that watches the channel, that we're sending you our absolute love and our absolute support. I'm really, really sorry for your loss. May he rest in peace. JP says, I want to see Loban at right back and Kjartan in the middle, but it's not going to happen. JP, you're right, mate. Stuart Cleary says, oh me, I keep saying it's 3 points is a must. Again, depends what team turns up. Fighting spirit, with spirit, or lacklustre team. Come on, dandies, let's be having you. You know, mate, again, how do 1% govern 99%? Mate, I agree. But, you know, he says, Milne, he was awful on Sunday. Shouldn't be in the team. Mate, I kind of get you. But who else do we put in there? We're so short. Who else do we put in? We can't just shoehorn players into positions, mate. That's the problem. You know, if Alfie misses out tomorrow, Nicky will have to play at right back, which means we're forced to play Alexander Jensen, because who else are we going to play there? Honestly. David Goldralli says, so he's tried to predict his team. Mitov, Malloy, Knuster, Milne, Devlin, Polvara, Clarkson, Carlson, Milanovic, Lazetic, Nisbet. 4-4-2 he's asking. Kaiser says, I can't believe Tallinn is still in the post. Jim Balfour says, Polvara doesn't read games from the start. He watches patterns of play and spots gaps from the side, making him very influential when he comes on. But this means he struggles when he starts. Thank you. So all your comments are coming in now supporting Penelope and our family. Thank you. Graham Gibbs asking, in press conference, Tallinn Ted 2 are carrying knocks and are doubtful. Dorrington and who? So he did mention Emmanuel Guiamfe, who says he probably won't be ready for the next Conference League game. So I don't know whether he was mentioned, if he meant him, Graham, or another. Kaiser says, another must win. How many must wins is that now? Absolutely right, mate. John Kylo is asking, has Cormac refused JT's resignation? Graham Gibbs says, Ali, same issue with Chaos when we went 3-2 up against Hibs last season. That Hibs equaliser was horrendous. It was, mate. It absolutely was. Right. Thank you for all your lovely comments that are now coming in for Danny. Musical Box says, we keep playing very slowly out from the back to entice opposing players in, but they all know what they're doing. You know, we just did not deal with their press on Sunday again. Craig Thompson says, it's never going to get better under Yimi. No passion from the manager. We can only expect to continue to lose games until he's gone. I just hope it's not too late. Scott Farquhar says, lose tomorrow, it's curtains, had to be. We can't keep sacking managers. We need to look above at DC and AB as well. AB. Alan Burrows, yep. Scottish Man Cave says, he will always be a legend for winning us the cup, but it's just not working out, sadly. I still back him, but writing's almost on the wall. MSP Aberdeen said, we, as in supporters, have a responsibility to absolutely back the manager and his teams. Do you know, you're absolutely right, mate. I completely agree with that, and I endorse that as well. But there is only so much that we can take as supporters. And I think that we've been very patient with Yimi Tallinn. Very patient. Because, let's be honest, the record's not great. Overall, it's not great. Yes, again, go back to it. Scottish Cup win. Fantastic. But we've not improved. At all. I don't think. Personally. I could be speaking out of turn. You may or you may not agree or disagree. But I just can't see the progression. I really can't. And I don't know what the answers are. I really don't. Right, guys, I'm going to... What does that say there? Alex Bruce says, why would you refuse his resignation? It's clearly not working, and I've lost all hope. Yeah. Right, guys, one last wee favour. Don't forget, give the show a wee like. It's helping massively with the algorithm, by the way, because the views are brilliant at the moment. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for subscribing. We're doing okay. You know, we're over 4,000, where are we? 4,000, hang on, what was the last count? Bear with me. I had a quick look earlier today. 4,732 is where we're at the moment. Oh, there's another one, 733. So the idea is obviously to try and get to 800 as quickly as we can, and then really boom on to try and get 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That's the goal. Right, guys, so as we always do at this juncture, the very best of luck to the lads tomorrow night. For God's sake, be competitive. For God's sake, play for each other. For God's sake, do not throw arms in the airs when things go wrong. Just get back in. Please, play for each other tomorrow night. You do that like you did against St Mirren in Paisley, you will win tomorrow night's game of football. That's all we ask. Be competitive. Lay a glove on. I'll see you again on Thursday. Never stops, eh? See you later. Stand free.